back to another lesson. I'll try and make this quick for us. So basically what we're doing here, let me get to the right place, one moment. Job post. So add this parameter in here, fp auth, and also down here we can add this in, username, request.user.username. Might not coming up for you, it might underline this in red, but once we do this up top, it will be okay. So do that. You could also go request.body.username, but we're getting the username from the request.user. So once you put this in here, come up here. You might like to pause it now, copy this out. Okay, so now I'll go through what it is. So const fp auth, that can be anything, but for simplicity, probably call it the same thing as me. We've got a request and a response and next. So the next is, once we do all this, we can return next, which means we can now go through the rest of this function as normal once we've been verified. So here we go. If ID token equals request.headers.authorization. So this is making sure there's something in there. So what is that in here? So now when we create job post, when we come to headers, type in authorization here. And I'll show you once we log in, this token ID, which we did in the previous lesson. I'm going to copy this. Come into create job post, paste it there. And now we can successfully create a job post. If we don't have this, and I press send, it's going to give an error, unauthorized. So it's making sure you have to be logged in to create job post. So we'll now come back to the code. So that's what that is there. If you don't get it, it's going to give that error unauthorized, as you just saw. So you're going to admin.auth.verify ID token. So we just copy that, put that in here. So once it's verified, we get the decoded token, and request.user equals decoded token. And then you can console log it, you don't have to do this. And then from here, we're going to return admin.firestore.collection users, where user ID equals request.user.uid. So the code token is pretty much the whole user, and the user ID you'll see in here. Just looking at Conor McGregor's Instagram. So we come to Cloud Firestore, users. So that's the user ID there. If it's equal to the same, then we get that person, we limit to one, then we get that data. So then with that data, we do a dot then, with that data, request.username, so request.user.username equals data.docs 0.data username. So once again, that's that username here. And then we go next. So then that's how we get this username here. But the main point is getting verified so we can pass through this here to complete this function. So you want to catch the error, console error. So hopefully that's pretty straightforward. So once again, Command S, and then you will go Command Shift P, Firebase, deploy, -- only functions, click enter. I've already clicked enter. So you want to go to Postman. You can make a new user. I can have the same password. I need to change the username though. Send. So you can either sign up a new user or you can log in as an existing user to get this token ID, which will last like 20 minutes, and then you have to sign in again to get a new one. So it's sort of like when you log into your banking and then it'll log you out after a certain amount of time. This is the same, like you log in, get the token ID, and then after a while it lapses. So I'm going to copy this, go here, so again headers, authorization, put it in there, then your body, just as before, do whatever you want here, click send, and that's done. And then once again, Send this to backspace. The view should give an error, like so, or paste it incorrectly. Successful. So if you think you've done everything right, but you're still getting error here, let's come into functions, logs, as I've shown you many times before, and it might say this isn't correct, and you can go back to your code and say, oh, that's why, because this isn't a function, or I've left this out, something silly that might be keeping you caught. But go into logs and I'll show you what it is, or possibly you get first go and everything's all good. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson.